Hi guys!
What's up, YouTube?
My name is Grecia.
And I'm Mariah.
And welcome to our channel. So in our last video, we only got to tell you a little bit of ourselves.
So today we're going to use this video to tell you a few memories and stories of our childhood.
And some of the stories really had a big impact in who we became to be. And in Mariah's case, she grew up as a dancer. So tell us about that. Did that affect your life?
I think because dance was such a big part of my life, it definitely shaped who I am today. I started dance when I was 3 years old, and I continued until I was about 18, and since then I would do dance for fun.
So Mariah, as a psychologist, would you say that being a dancer affected your life more than just dancing, Did it affect off the dance floor?
Actually, yeah, that's a really good point, because dancing for me is something that I love to do. And without it, I don't know if there would have been any other sport that I would have loved more than that. I've tried many sports growing up, and dance was the only one that stuck. And I made a lot of friends through dance. I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for it, because of all the people that I've met and all the paths that I've been able to cross. It's been a really great journey, and that's all because of dance. And in Grecia's case, she was not only born in Venezuela, she was raised there.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Growing up in Venezuela was a lot of fun. I remember just being a total monkey, climbing trees. I'm from a space where it's very green, so I grew up going to the river and making little ponds like pools to cliff jump from the rocks. We would go camping and we would go hiking in the mountains. I clearly remember the smell of my hometown. The smell of my grandma's house. I love that growing up, just those smells and familiar places. Family dynamics are just a whole lot different. Communities, just everything is really different. So I feel like I'm blessed that I've seen that. So I feel very lucky. Like, how about you though? How were you as a kid? Do you had a favorite toy, or did you just play with Barbies?
I never
like the kid that would just play with.
Actually, no, I hated Barbies growing up. That's funny you'd say that, because I'd get Barbies all the time and I never played with them. All I would do was brush their hair and braid it, and then I would throw them in the corner. I don't know. I was never really into Barbies. I was more of like an active child. I'd be playing in my front yard, in my backyard. Growing up in the 90s, we would have the blow-up pool that you just fill in, and we would always be swimming in there. And at being that little, at like 3 years old, I'm naked or in my diaper or whatever, and so would my cousin, naked. And then we would be running around in the backyard, and it was very like homey style, where like my dad's barbecuing in the backyard and we've got the whole family over. I remember too, growing up, when I got my first razor. I'm not sure if you remembered.
I remember the razors.
They were
so fun.
Those were so much fun. I remembered when I was one of the cool kids with the razors. It was awesome. It was really fun growing up, because I wasn't really introduced into electronics until I was about 10, when I got my first phone. How old were you when you got your first phone?
I was 7 or 8 when I had my first phone. My mom is actually, she was a teacher, but at that time she was the headmaster of the school that she worked for.
Oh, cool.
So she wouldn't get home until really late, and then she would just want to keep track of me.
I was 10 when I got my first phone, and I remembered being in the car. I remember the moment that it happened. Sitting in the back of my mom and dad's car, and my mom hands me this box. And I'm like, what's this? And so then I opened the box, and it's a phone, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm thinking it's a family phone.
What kind of phone?
It was a Nokia. It was a Nokia brick. I call it a brick because it looked like a brick, and it was indestructible.
That was my first phone too.
That was your first phone?
Yeah, that was my
really?
first phone.
Yeah, was that like the thing for first phones?
That was the first phone.
Yeah, I remember it. It's like about this big. And it was
waterproof,
like this thick, and it was indestructible, it seemed like.
I remember my sister put it on the toilet when she was probably 1, and my mom just taking it out, blowing it, putting the batteries together, and it just worked fine.
Here's another thing too. They had buttons. That's one thing you don't see on phones anymore, buttons. Where I was able to actually text behind my back. That was a thing. Why? Because there were buttons and you can feel it. And on the number 5, they had this little line across
Yeah,
it.
the little dot that you could feel.
The little dot that you could feel so that you know where the 5 was. And then I remembered like being able to just like click, 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 click all over my phone and be able to send a full text and then send it without having to look. And that was like my sneaky way of texting in class.
Oh my god. Okay, my favorite thing about the Nokias, the snake game was my favorite.
Yeah. That's actually the only game that I remembered ever having on that phone. And that's what I'd always play.
Yeah, me too. And you could only input like 10 contacts or something. It was so funny.
Yeah, well, who are you going to call at 10 years old? You know
I know, nobody had phones back then.
No one had phones back then. And
Yeah.
I was like one of the
my
cool
mom.
people that had like phones. Like, who has phones at 10 years old? Well, nowadays, that's a whole nother story. But
It's so funny because when I was young, I got that phone. I didn't even ask for it. And I was the shit because I had that phone. But then when the BlackBerry came out and I was a teenager and everybody had a BlackBerry in Venezuela and I still had, actually I had a Samsung that I hated. The battery would overheat in my pocket and I would just like burn my hand.
Really?
Yeah. But the thing was, everybody had a BlackBerry. If you were cool, you were going out, you had a BlackBerry. And there I was with no BlackBerry. I hated that. And like we had the means to do it, but my mom's like, I'm not getting you a BlackBerry if I don't have one. So the first thing I did when I started working at Hollister, and I got my first paycheck, I went to T-Mobile and I got myself the baddest freaking BlackBerry there was. Boom, unlimited everything.
Oh my god, yes, unlimited.
But then I wasn't there, so.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, guys, well, that was a little bit about us and our childhood. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yours? All right, guys, that was everything for our video. If you had any questions or comments, just leave it in the comment box below. And
thank you for watching.
thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.